Hello, everyone. I'm Charlie Tolhurst, and welcome to the Motorsport Mayhem podcast for today, the 30th of December, 2025. Yes, guys, I thought I'd come in a little bit early just before the New Year celebrations begin, because this podcast is going to officially properly introduce you. Everyone, I'm Charlie Tolhurst, and welcome to this brand new podcast, all talking all things motorsport. Yes, motorsport, um, cars that we'll be doing any car news, the Motivated podcast, just all around motorsport. If there is any new car news that has been announced in motorsport, I will post you with that on the show. But we're going to be featuring loads of news from our motorsport series around the world. Here in the UK, we're going to go over some history for you over some of the episodes as well. It is going to be a fun podcast to enjoy. I'm your presenter, Charlie Tolhurst. I'm going to be taking you through today in the first episode some of the latest news from the world of motorsport. And can I just say as well, whilst I'm here, I kind of want to go over some of the highlights of 2025, including Lando Norris winning his first ever World Championship and McLaren's first F1 driver's title since Sir Lewis Hamilton back in 2008. McLaren won the championship this year. They won the Constructors for the second year in a row. And Lando and Norris took home Red Bull's Max Verstappen and his McLaren teammate Oscar Piastri in an enthralling showdown in Abu Dhabi, where Norris won the race. Norris finished third. Max Verstappen won the race with Oscar Piastri coming home in second. Despite the trying his absolute hardest to stick out a strategy on a one stop to see if he could get a safety car. But Max in the end won the race, and he has had an amazing second half of the year since the summer break, particularly since after Zandvoort. He came back, won many races, took himself within just a couple of points of this year's World Championship. But I have to say, that title fight, McLaren certainly should have had wrapped up a lot sooner. But that was one of the big talking points from Formula One this year as well. And obviously, the F1 will be back in 2026. In fact, for you guys, as well, Formula One is going to be back in 2026 because we have got a huge season next year for Formula One fans. As you guys would have known, the calendar has already been confirmed. We have new races in Madrid. Madrid will be one of the new races next season. Of course, Zandvoort will be on the calendar for the last time until 2026. Barcelona will kick off pre-season testing on the 30th of January, so not long actually now. Then we have the first pre-season test on the 13th of February in Bahrain, followed by a second pre-season test on the 20th, and then on March the 8th, which is a Sunday, the Australian Grand Prix will kickstart what is expected to be an action-packed calendar. We go to other races. The 15th of March, Chinese Grand Prix will be on the 15th. That's actually my birthday, believe it or not. I get my birthday, I get the Chinese Grand Prix on, believe it or not. Then we go to the Japanese Grand Prix on March 29th. Bahrain Grand Prix, some other highlights as well. We've got the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix on the 19th. Miami gets moved forward for May the 3rd. The Canadian Grand Prix will be on May the 24th. That will clash with the Indianapolis 500. It is a weird one for next year where the Monaco Grand Prix actually is not on the same date as the Indianapolis 500. Very weird to actually see that happen there as well. We then have the Barcelona Catalunya GP on the 14th of June. Obviously, it's not going to be called the Spanish Grand Prix now because sadly Madrid is going to be on it. Then the 28th of June, we have a double header with Austria, and the British Grand Prix is on the 5th of July. Austrians, Great Britain, obviously Silverstone hosting the British Grand Prix on the 5th of July next year. And also congratulations to Stuart Pringle today as well, who got a knighthood on the Queen's, or was on the New Year's Honours list as well. Well done, Stuart Pringle, the CEO of Silverstone there. And then in terms of the season, it will round out in Abu Dhabi on December the 6th. Event to be confirmed, which is in the blue asterisk. That's depending on your time zone. It could also affect the date as well. In terms of that as well, the Spanish Grand Prix in Madrid will be on the 13th of September, introducing another double header there with Monza, and then what looks to be a triple header to conclude the season. So that's all the main F1 news as well. Obviously, as I said, last season's highlights were all there as well. Lando Norris taking the championship as well. Quadrant also have a latest YouTube video out featuring go-karting and much more. You can go and check that out on the Quadrant YouTube channel. Moving on to some more news as well. In the British Touring Car Championship, which I've had the pleasure of attending quite a few races this year, and I'll be going again to more in 2026, much cheaper than the F1, of course. Tom Ingram won his second title, and I was there on the day that he won the title at Brands Hatch, guys. What an ending to see race 2, full of controversy. We saw plenty of action in race 2 at Brands Hatch. We saw the two Toyotas collide. Aaron Taylor-Smith and Josh Cook, I think, collided. And Aaron Taylor-Smith and Gordon Shedden both will be driving for MB Motorsport next season. The two teammates at Toyota join Mark Blundell's team. They are actually still running the same car, believe it or not, Toyota Corolla, but under a different team name. We've got some more driver news coming up in the new year as well. What's going to be happening in the BTCC with driver changes? That's another question. We also have Power Max running a new car. They're running Audi S3s. That's going to make a return. That's going to be in the championship next year as well for the Audi S3. That's going to be coming in as well. And there is certainly going to be plenty of action throughout the BTCC crowd. We also saw Mikey Doble win race 3 at Snetterton, one of my highlights of the year. Mikey Doble on reverse grid pole, taking victory there at Snetterton in the reverse grid race. Power Max's first win in years, actually, in that, and obviously running the Vauxhall obviously had that horrible fire during the year as well, which destroyed their factory. Toyota also had issues as well. Josh Cook was left without a drive as well after BTC Racing or One Motorsport sadly went pulled out over their team owner going into hospital. But in terms of any news with touring cars, there is certainly going to be plenty of driver changes coming over as well. TOCA have also announced that BTCC license holders will now be open as well. We also know that Tom Ingram got commended 2025 champion as well. But there will be more driver news coming up over the next period. And the start of the British touring car season will be on the 18th and the 19th of April when the cars hit the Donington Park National Circuit. We all saw what happened last year at that race. Ash Sutton and Tom Ingram both were the ones driving at the front of the field. And they actually were the ones at the front of the field this season, fighting on for the championships. It's going to be very, very interesting to see how the British touring cars get on as well. And we'll be keeping up to date with local motorsport news as well on this podcast over the next year. Anyway, let's go over now and talk about some of the national motorsport news now that is currently happening. I just want to say quickly to anyone watching this podcast, this will air in the new year on pretty much a weekly basis. Also as well, some very sad news to announce today following Denny Hamlin, the father to NASCAR race. Denny Hamlin has sadly died in a house fire. Dennis Hamlin, the father of the NASCAR Cup veteran Denny, he died on Sunday evening when the house, as he shared with Mary Lou in Stanley, North Carolina, sadly caught fire. The older Hamlin was 75 years old. They were outside their burning home when the Lucia Riverband Fire Department, other safety crews were extinguishing the flames. Both Hamlins were transported to a nearby hospital. Very sad news to hear about this, guys. We don't want to see anything like this happen. So, yeah, it's not ideal in general there. As well, also in some more news today, as well, I just want to say Mercedes. Why replacing Mercedes' hugely successful GT3 car is actually a challenge. Now, Mercedes have been very good in GT3 racing. I can safely say in the British GTs, they have been very good in that series. That car has done really well. And Mercedes are actually working on a new GT3 car for customer and factory supported racing. So this is car news, by the way, but just racing terms. It will become the first major product to emerge after the after-batch racing division, which was set up midway through 2024, has brought Mercedes to end its long-standing relationship with HWA. The unnamed GT3 Challenger is expected to be based at the concept's AMG GT Sport and new sports car that will join the second generation AMG GT in Mercedes' flagship model lineup. While it's known that the successor to the AMG GT3 is also underway, it could be homologated in time for the 2027 season. It's expected to use a new carbon fiber chassis, a turbocharged V8, which is obviously standard car 4 litre twin turbo V8 as well. So yes, Mercedes are expected to update this car, and of course, Mercedes are also working on a GT3 track car pictured here. Of course, if I share my screen, that is the car, the winning team Adkios ASP Mercedes AMG GT3, driven by Raffaele Marcello, Danny Juncadella, and Jules Gordon. That was at the 24 hours of Spa as well. Also won the 24 hours endurance at Nürburgring Spa and claimed DTM and GT World Challenge Europe titles as well. And is now also been a formidable race winner across the Atlantic in the IMSA Sports Car Championship, which race a lot on America's tracks. And I believe that Daytona, 24 hours of Daytona is coming up very soon as well. So IMSA certainly will be racing over there. But that's certainly some big news. Mercedes have had a very good year in GT racing. I can really say that for one thing. So yes, certainly more time on that one as well. Also as well, in some more news to announce as well, I want to talk about this. This is very, very interesting. Max Verstappen's race engineer, Gianpiero Lambiase, is potentially, according to rumours, could be leaving Red Bull. According to this, he could bring an end to a partnership that yielded 4 consecutive F1 World titles. It's reported that the end of 2025 championship will mark Lambiase's conclusion of Lambiase's work with Verstappen, with the 45-year-old British engineer understood to have asked Red Bull management not to travel too much of the course of the season. In 2025, the Austrian and Belgian GPs are replaced by Simon Rennie, which is Daniel Ricciardo's former race engineer. The British engineer, who's had Italian parents and holds dual citizenship, was linked with a move to Aston Martin, but Motorsport.com has understood that apparently it could be going to Williams. Of course, he reportedly due to join the project. Williams obviously joined the team. He's projected to join the project. Williams have made significant strides and finished the 2025 season with its highest championship position since 2017. I have to say, I mean, you know, Gianpiero Lambiase, obviously British-born, British-Italian race engineer, one of the most iconic engineers in F1. Actually, no, he's race engineer to a 4-time world champion in Max Verstappen, you know, and has been at the forefront of Red Bull's domination over the years. If Gianpiero Lambiase does leave Red Bull, well, that's another high-profile departure could be happening from Red Bull. We know that Christian Horner, Adrian Newey, Jonathan Wheatley, the 3 big spearheaders of them championship-winning years have all gone. And obviously now, you know, Jonathan Wheatley now is his team principal at Sauber. We know that obviously Adrian Newey is now currently leading Aston Martin, and he was a designer, part of the design division, and Christian Horner is still without a job. But there are rumours potentially going around that Horner could be moving to Alpine or Aston Martin. So be very interested to see how Lambiase gets on. Whether he'll stay at Red Bull beyond next year, that's a big question. What teams are looking into him. But it seems to be that negotiations are starting with James Vowles at Williams. I mean, Williams have had a resurgent year last year. They got a couple of podiums with Carlos Sainz. Alex Albon had a great start to the year as well with some top 10 finishes, plenty of them to be precise. But is it a Red Bull obviously going into a new partnership with Ford next year? Are they just beginning to see things maybe unravel for them? But I'm sure they'll get someone in. I'm sure, you know, the new regulations coming next year with the new cars, ground effect being removed, no DRS, active aero, it could play a big part in their title bid. Obviously using Ford engines next year, and obviously Alpine getting Mercedes. So it's going to be very interesting. Anyway, guys, that brings me to the end of the Motorsport Mayhem podcast for today. Thank you so much for watching. And yes, thank you so much for watching, guys. If you want to hear more content, please like and subscribe to Chaz's Squash YouTube channel. I'll alert you when new videos get uploaded. Thank you for watching, guys. Take care and have a great new year. See you in 2026. Goodbye.